Another important service that Azure provides when it comes to cloud governance is the Azure Blueprint. Now let's understand another important service that Azure provides when it comes to cloud governance. Imagine you're constructing a house and you bring in an architect who would help you with designing and building the house as per your need. The first thing the architect would do after understanding your requirement is to design a blueprint which will give you an overall idea of how the house would be constructed and various elements will be added. Azure Blueprint is similar to the blueprint an architect develops for a house. In this case, the Azure architect would go ahead and create a blueprint of the infrastructure and the governance, monitoring, and auditing needs before even creating the infra in Azure. So Azure Blueprint allows an architect to define a manageable and repeatable set of Azure resources which are adhering to the organization standards. Azure Blueprint also allows dev teams to build the application and deploy without having to worry about network compliance, security compliance, and various other compliance. Blueprint, just like Azure Policy, is a declarative approach to orchestrate and uh, deployment of templates related to not only resource but also on roles, policies, ARM templates, and resource group. Let's quickly look at the demo or a hands-on on Azure Blueprint. So here I am on, so here I am in Microsoft in Azure portal, wherein I'm able to see the, so here I am in the Azure portal, wherein I was able to navigate to the blueprints from the Azure portal. So once I reach the blueprint, you have the option to create and apply and track the assignment. So as you can see, at the time of this video, the blueprint is still in preview and to be looked into before applying into a large scale infra. To create a blueprint, you go into the wizard to create the blueprint. You can either use the existing template. The templates are specifically built for ISO standards or various other standards, or you can start with a blank blueprint. So here you could give the name of the blueprint, first infra, and then provide the description. There's a typo. Can only contain alphabet and underscore dashes. So we cannot have space in the blueprint name. Let me change the space to have an underscore. And what is the purpose and what is the scope and where do you want to save this particular uh, blueprint? It's at the subscription level. So then once I define the basic details, I can go ahead and add the artifacts which are part of the blueprint. So here when I click on add, I could add a policy, a role, a ARM template, and a resource group as part of the blueprint for the tracking purpose. Now, once I select the policy, I can add the artifact uh, into the into the blueprint and save a draft version. So by default, a blueprint will be in the draft version of in the draft version, and you will be able to publish the same and maintain multiple versions in it. So now, if I go into Blueprint Infra, I'll be able to publish in order for me to assign the blueprint into various resource or subscriptions. So let me go ahead and publish. I've called it as V 1.0, and then you can give a change nodes and publish. So once published, you will have the option to assign the published blueprint into various resources and also keep editing the blueprint with a local or draft version. So I can go ahead and edit and click on next and add one more artifact. In this case, I'm going to add the policy and select the default tag via CLI, click on add and then save. So what I have now is uh, two versions of the blueprint, one which is published and the one which is in the edit mode and a draft version. So now I have the option to publish this particular version v1.1 and assign the one which is published v1.0. Now let's look at the assignment part of blueprint. The published blueprint, I can now go ahead and select the location and the version that I want to define. As I said, you can have multiple versions and the latest is by default. And I can assign it to the subscription, which is my own subscription. So the other option you have is the log assignment. So if there you have three options to choose when you're assigning a blueprint, the what it means that all the resources under this blueprint, they are not locked, which means that users and everybody will be having the ability to modify and delete the resource. When you select do not delete, which means that the assignment is locked and the users will not be able to delete the resource, but they'll be able to modify. Read only is where you can only just view the data. So let me select do not delete and you can specify the identity options. Once I say assign, the blueprint is now assigned with these values. So now it is expecting the default name. So let me put it as blueprint demo and the value is blueprint value. So now once I assign, now similar to policy, when a resource is created, this particular blueprint and the related policies are executed and the whole blueprint will be assigned and the values and the settings of that blueprint will be applicable across the resource that were created. So this is a way um, for you to define multiple resources, governing resources, such as a policy, initiative, an ARM template, and then define a higher level blueprint, which will use these individual artifacts to define your org level blueprint of the infrastructure and enable an easier and a better way to manage the infra governance, auditing, and monitoring.